I'm addicted to smelling pine cleaner. I will rhythmically crunch the bottle and take deep breaths. I also use a surgical mask with the pine cleaner on it at home.
It's scary behavior to witness.
I'm worried about her asthma.
Worst case scenario, you might need a breathing tube put in. That could be life-threatening.
I have an addiction to remove dead animals from the road. I love animals. I just can't stand to see their dead bodies on the ground like that.
He's right next to vehicles traveling 60, 70 miles an hour. What's to say they'll stop?
He needs to take that passion and transfer that into animals that are living.
I'll do this until the day I die.
My name is Jillian. I'm 33 years old, and I'm addicted to smelling pine cleaner. Pine cleaner is my holy grail. If I could douse my soul in pine cleaner, I would. The first thing I do when I wake up, I smell my pine cleaner, and then I'll make coffee and I will smell pine cleaner. I will use it as laundry detergent. I will pour it into a pot on my stove heater so that it permeates the whole house. I will use it as an air freshener too when I leave the house. I will take a little spray bottle in my purse. I will also put it on a bandana to keep in my pocket.
For as long as she can remember, Jillian has always loved the smell of pine cleaner. But 2 years ago, her love affair turned into a full-blown addiction after a stressful divorce.
The pine cleaner absolutely did give me solace. It was like kind of a soft, calm spot amidst all the chaos.
Now, she's so dependent on the smell, she needs a fix every 15 minutes and can't function without the scent.
It's a very strong vapor, kind of like if you took a pine tree and you dipped it in a vat of bleach. I have pine cleaner added to like a soft squirt bottle. It concentrates the aromas and the vapors, and it directs the spray directly into my nose or my mouth. I also use the surgical mask with the pine cleaner on it at home and just strap it to my face. But my favorite way to smell pine cleaner is to have a bottle that has maybe an inch or two left at the bottom. The harder I crunch the bottle, the harder the scent is being forced into my nose. I almost feel like it's burning the inside of my sinus cavities and my nasal passages, but I couldn't imagine a happy life without it.
But Jillian isn't the only one who constantly smells pine cleaner. Her ex-husband and current roommate is also subjected to the scent.
The smell really gets to me. It hurts my nose. Sometimes it'll give me a headache.
I have asthma, and sometimes I do have shortness of breath. I'll wake up with that cinder block on my chest feeling.
And recently, Jillian's addiction has started to escalate.
It's not just quick sniffs anymore, it's sessions. I will rhythmically crunch the bottle and go into a trance-like state.
It's scary behavior to witness. I try to tell her to stop, and she's just kind of ignorant to it and believes that it's not doing her any harm at all.
It's been a part of me for so long. It's not something that I can ever foresee wanting out of my life.
My name is Scott. I'm 34, and I have an addiction to remove dead animals from the road. I love animals.
I just can't stand to see their dead bodies on the ground like that. It just absolutely drives me nuts.
7 days a week, rain or shine, Scott scours local streets for dead animals. His favorite time to search is at night.
I don't know what's going on in their world. All I know is I want to try to help it. I've picked up hundreds of animals from the road since 1999 until now.
In 1999, Scott found his black Labrador Lexi on the side of the highway after she was hit by a car.
It was horrible losing her. I mean, I was messed up, you know. I was crying and crying. I lost my air, you know. I was their best friend there.
Scott didn't want any pet owner to go through the pain he suffered by finding Lexi.
Ever since then, I just had this strong, compelling feeling, this need to just pull them off the road.
But what started as an innocent way to help others now consumes Scott's life. He spends up to 6 hours a day picking up animals, collecting as many as 10 in a single night.
There's always a cat in there, it seems. Dogs, rabbits galore. I found some hawk, I found some owl. I hop in the truck. I'll bring a big flathead shovel out with me. I wear my mechanic's gloves just in case. I take a bucket too, because some of them just get messy. I will scoop them up very carefully and place them in a container.
My concerns for Scott are for his safety. And, you know, he's right next to vehicles traveling 60, 70 miles an hour. What's to say they'll stop?
But Scott doesn't just pick up the animals off the side of the road. He also gives each one a proper burial.
I bury cats in some nice areas. It's a big open field with lots of little off-road trails out there. So I used to lay them out all over this place. This is probably the remains of a cat that I dropped out here years back. I found out that something harmful, you know, from like their bacteria were affecting me, I probably wouldn't stop doing it.
And his health isn't the only thing Scott risks for his addiction.
I believe this addiction has caused me to be more antisocial, and some people just don't care to go pick up dead animals off the road. There was this one girl who kind of got sick of it. She thought it was some kind of gross, immature thing, so she split.
It's cost him a lot mentally and you know, with relationships. It's just spending too much time doing that, and I wish he would stop.
I'll do this with my furry little friends on the road until the day I die.
Coming up, Jillian reveals the shocking extent of her addiction.
What I do is I turn the hot water on in the sink and I step it up with a sponge, lay back and take deep breaths. My name is Jillian and I'm addicted to smelling pine cleaner.
33-year-old Jillian is so hooked on the smell of pine cleaner, she needs a fix every 15 minutes. She wears a surgical mask doused in her favorite scent and keeps 25 bottles stashed throughout her house at all times. But smelling the bottle isn't the only way she satisfies her addiction.
I will make the pine sauna in my bathroom usually once or twice a week. What I do is I turn the hot water on in the sink and I step it up with a sponge. And then I will turn the shower on with the hot water and probably dump about half of a bottle into the shower. And as soon as it gets nice and steamy in here and the smell of the pine is extremely overpowering and pervasive, I will just lay back and close my eyes and take deep breaths. When the pine cleaner finally gets like deep down into my nasal passages and I can taste it in my mouth, I feel like I'm just kind of hovering above ground for a second there.
But most people in Jillian's life don't know how deep her addiction runs. Today, she's finally ready to reveal the truth to her best friend, Jennifer.
I'm used to being like Jennifer's voice of reason, so I'm worried as to what her reaction is going to be when she realizes just how bad my pine sniffing addiction is getting. I wanted to tell you about something. You know how I like to sniff pine cleaner every now and then? It's not really every now and then. It's probably closer, I'd say, to like 50 times a day.
How long has this been? I know that you've been doing it for a while, but I didn't know it was this important.
It's always there 24/7. It's a blanket solution for everything. Every little stress in my life can be remedied by sniffing pine cleaner. You've seen my squeezy bottle with my name on it. I put that up my nose basically, and I'll put it into my mouth, but I won't drink it.
Yeah. Now, the whole thing with the bandana, what's going on with that?
Well, sometimes, you got to go places like the bank, the store, and it's not always prudent to have a big bottle of pine. So I like to soak it in the pine, before I leave the house. It's there if I need it. It's easier, to have it, too, if I'm driving, because I could tie it a little bit, and, I have use to my hands then.
I'm not judgmental of it, but I'm worried about your health.
Yeah.
Especially with your asthma. I know how asthma on a good day could be bad.
Yeah, no, I know, and I'm not gonna lie. I do, notice a shortness of breath more, but to me it's worth it to smell the pine, if that makes sense.
It's like she doesn't value herself enough to think that she's harming her body. And that upsets me most of all. Did you think ever seeing if it was something that is harming you? From a doctor or something like that?
No, I haven't talked to my doctor about it.
But I just don't want to see it doing any kind of real long-term harm, That's what worries me.
Although I'm grateful that Jennifer was very supportive, I really don't see that it's cause to stop what I'm doing, because it's one of my greatest pleasures in life, and ultimately I'm going to keep doing what immediately makes me the happiest.
Coming up, Jillian's ex-husband has had enough.
How far are you going to take this? Are you going to be drinking it someday? Am I going to come home and find you dead on the floor?
And will Man's best friend convince Scott to change?
He's a nice boy. It looks like he's happy to see you.
33-year-old Jillian has been addicted to smelling pine cleaner for over 2 years and goes through more than 6 bottles every week. But her ex-husband and current roommate Jared thinks her obsession has gotten out of control.
She definitely has a problem, and I'm worried about her asthma and what effect it could be having on her brain.
Today, he wants to confront Jillian about her addiction before it's too late.
Why do you have to stick it up your nose like that?
I can taste it and smell it at the same time.
Oh, God. It's a caustic chemical,
It's not caustic, it's just a cleaner.
So do you even know what's in that pine cleaner?
It can't be that bad.
It says hazardous to humans and domestic animals.
Well, I don't understand. If it was so dangerous, then why would they make it and sell it in stores?
She's being kind of ignorant to how it's affecting her. I really think that she needs to just open her eyes and realize the damage she's doing. How is that affecting your asthma? I mean, you're getting nosebleeds now, and you always got headaches. I mean, don't you think that the pine cleaner is doing that to you?
No. I've always had headaches. I had asthma before I started, smelling pine a lot, so...
How far are you going to take this? Are you going to be drinking it someday? Am I going to come home and find you dead on the floor?
We're all going to die from something, right?
If not for yourself, would you please see a doctor, at least for me?
I just want to put it on the record that I don't think it's that big of an issue, but if it's that important to you, then yeah. We're still very close, so I'm going to go for his sake. But unless a doctor was going to tell me that I'm going to die tomorrow from it, I really don't think there's much he could say that's going to make me stop.
"34-year-old Scott is addicted to removing roadkill from local streets. For 6 hours a night, Scott prowls the roads, picking up dead cats, dogs, and rabbits, then buries them in a field. But his best friend Aaron is worried Scott's isolating himself and risking his life for his addiction. Today, Aaron wants to convince Scott to get help.
I found a big old dead coyote on 70 yesterday.
Been doing that a lot lately, or?
Oh yeah, I've been out and about still, man.
You always do it on, busy?
Sometimes, yeah.
Busier
Sometimes
highways, or?
Yeah. I jump up on that median really quick, there's all kinds of crazy drivers out there. I try not to think about them anyways, really.
I worry about you, man. Just your safety anyway, and your state of mind even, man.
Yeah, I know. The whole mental thing, I'm slipping away, going antisocial.
Yeah. I would encourage him to stop to do this all the time. That's got to have some kind of an effect on your mental state. So I think it'd be a good idea then to talk to somebody.
Someone professional in this subject.
Would you?
Yeah, I'll do it for you, man.
All right, I appreciate that, man.
He's right. It's gonna burn me out in the end, hope he feels a little better, encouraging me to, go see a therapist here, see what this is all about.
Coming up, Jillian learns the truth about her addiction.
We have concrete evidence that this is doing damage to your nose and throat.
34-year-old Scott can't stop picking up dead animals from the side of the road. But his best friend is worried Scott's isolating himself and convinced him to see an animal-assisted therapist.
I feel really anxious, actually, but I'm willing to find out, what she has to offer to me.
So, what are the issues that are bothering you most?
I love animals to the point so much. I pull them off the road constantly, I just can't leave them laying there dead on the ground.
When you see an animal, tell me what that feels like.
It really sinks hard in my heart. It's scary sometimes, actually, because it just makes me want to withdraw away from this world so much, that I don't even want to be a person.
My concern for Scott is that the feeling that he's not quite human is going to even get stronger. What would be really great for Scott would be to take that love of animals and transfer that into animals that are living. So what's the difference touching the animal when they're dead?
When he's alive, it feels good, It's less stressful, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. The fact that you're picking up dead animals, I don't think is that big of a deal. But the fact that it's a compulsion that's negatively impacting your life, that's kind of the problem. What would be important for me is that you find a way to balance your life so that you can have all the things that are important to you.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. She gave me some good ideas, but I think I should just do what my heart tells me to do. Here I'm gonna go on doing the same thing I do, but maybe with a little better outlook on life.
"33-year-old Jillian has been addicted to smelling pine cleaner for over 2 years, inhaling from a bottle up to 75 times every day. Jillian doesn't think her addiction is harmful, but her ex-husband is concerned about her health and begged Jillian to see a doctor.
So, Jillian, what brings you in to see us today?
Well, I have kind of a compulsion to sniffing household pine cleaner.
Okay. Has this given you any problems?
Well, I already have asthma, so I've noticed that I've been having a little bit more like frequent asthma attacks.
Any problems with nosebleeds?
I have gotten a few in the last year.
Okay. There are certain ingredients in there that can cause problems. Are you familiar with ethyl alcohol ethoxylate? That is a documented toxin. It's poison.
Things that she's inhaling are not benign substances, and when consumed, it's been shown to cause damage to the kidneys, heart, lungs, and central nervous system. It's imperative that she stop this behavior.
All right, I'd like to take a look at your ears, nose, and throat. So I'm going to use this scope. I want to see if any other damage has been done from the pine cleaner. This is the inside of your nose. It's swollen and redder than it should be. And when we look further back with the flexible scope into your throat, we see many of the same changes. I have to believe that those are both related to inhalation of the pine cleaner.
It was a little bit shocking to see the big red scar. It definitely made me stop for a second, like, wait, wow.
We have concrete evidence that this is doing damage to your nose and throat. Not to mention what it's doing to your asthma. You know, it could lead to not only one very bad asthma attack, the worst case scenario, you might need a breathing tube put in. That could be life-threatening. And it looks like you're going down that road, and that's why we need you to stop.
I had no idea just like the grave systemic failures I could be causing myself by sniffing pine cleaner constantly. I would love to be able to say with certainty that it's enough to make me want to give up something that I love so much, but I'm not entirely sure that it is. I'm hoping that I could keep, myself from compulsively smelling pine cleaner. That I can go to a grocery store without being immediately attracted to the cleaner aisle, without opening up bottles and sniffing them in public. I don't want, to have to bring pine with me when I leave the house. I don't want to have a bottle of pine in every single room that I'm in. I want to be able to keep one bottle of pine underneath the sink with the cleaning supplies like any other person would.